Hello everyone, it's Julie from Camelia Crafts Designs. Welcome and welcome back. I've got a very simple project for you today. I'm going to make a traveller's notebook. Yep, very easy, very simple. You only need 2 sheets of cardstock for the cover. You can use A4 or you can use letter size. In fact, you could use any 2 rectangular pieces. I've made this kind of book before. A couple of weeks ago I did this one using a sheet of 8x8. I cut it in half horizontally, giving me 2 rectangular pieces, and I made this. You could do it with a 12x12, a 6x6, or I'm using, like I say, 2 sheets like so, and it gives me this slightly different shape, which is the traveller's notebook size. Right, this is all part of the collaboration that Rachel and Bella Crafts and Angela Kerr are doing this summer, called Crafty Summer Simples. There'll be 1 or 2 videos up each day throughout July with some simple ideas for your summer crafting. So let's crack on. All those details are in my description. There is a freebie that Rach has done, and that's the freebie. Now if you look, I made this whole junk journal with the freebie digital, so you don't have to go buying any more digitals if you don't have the budget at the moment. You can still make this using the freebie. I just printed it out twice. You see different parts of it on the inside and on the outside, so I think that looks cute. I've used pages from the kit, cut and folded. Some are folded to give a few flips and flaps, and some are just cut down to make my pages. Right, I will be finishing the one we do today. That's just to give you an idea. Right, also just to shake it up a little bit, I'm going to use 2 different pieces of cardstock. I think it might be easier for you to see what I'm doing. Right, there's only one measurement that you need for this. I'm going to get my scoreboard out because I find it so much easier to score using a scoreboard. Yeah, if you don't have a scoreboard, you can measure it and fold. So I am going to score at 9 inches from the left hand side. This will work on both letter size cardstock and A4 cardstock. I'm ready with everything apart from my scoring tool. Oh, where's that? Oh, I'll grab that one. I've got too many and not enough scoring tools. Sometimes I can't find one, and then others it's like, oh, which one do I pick? So from the left hand side, have your cardstock facing the right way up, and I'm going to score at 9 inches. Yeah. If you're using letter size, which is only 11 inches wide instead of 11 3/4, this piece that makes a pocket, it'll just be a slightly narrower pocket, but it won't affect the using of your traveller's notebook. So you can see that score line, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with my other piece. I'm going to score at 9 inches. I've got a frog in my throat again today. I think I've been doing too much talking. It's only a couple of weeks since I lost my voice for a bit. And yeah, it's a bit, it's not going, it just feels like it's about to. So, we've got those. Now, fold those over on the score lines, both of them. So that's that one. And same with this one. That's that one. Now, decide which you want to be the front of your traveller's notebook. So do you want that bit? I quite liked having that on the front because it gave that on the front and then the house on the back. So I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to put that face down. Then I'm going to get my other piece that I've folded on the right, and I'm going to pop that on top there. Pop it just inside there. And you can see already that's your traveller's notebook cover. We're going to fold that in half, and that is our cover. So I'm just going to line those up. Yeah. They should be the same height because they were printed on the same cardstock. And then I'm just going to fold first that piece over and line my 2 edges up. What you get by doing this score line at 9, when it's folded, you get a traveller's notebook that is 4.5 inches wide, maybe slightly wider than your standard size is supposed to be, but they're all much of a muchness. Then I'm going to fold that one. Yeah, that will be a little bit short. That doesn't matter because this is going to be a pocket, and I think that just helps you tuck things in that pocket a little bit easier. Because this one's going around the outside, it's not going to go as far, is it? It's having to fold all the way over. So there we have it. That is the bones of our traveller's notebook. Now we're going to have to do a bit of gluing. So I'm going to grab my art glitter glue. You grab whatever your preferred glue is. You could get away with using double-sided tape, I suppose, but I don't know that it'd hold as well. Now the first thing I want to glue is this part and this part. That then becomes, let me get my original one out. That then becomes that pocket, yeah. So I'm just going to have moved that now, putting some on it. So I'm just going to make sure it's all straight. And I'm going to put glue along the top there and along the top there. I've got to move it again. I'll line it up before I start to fold it down. Whee, there and there. If you want to put like a thumb notch in there, put it near at top, because I want to put a few more pockets on that just because I can. So put that back in. Line it up, woman. I should have put that back in before. It's really hard to line this up when I'm not directly above. I know I said that a lot, I'm like a stuck record. There we go. And if you're inking, go ahead and do your inking. I'm not inking. I don't want to. I just really don't want to ink. I like this paper as it is. Right, so then fold that over. And then fold that over. Remember, we want that flap on the inside this time. And then I'm going to do a little bit more gluing. And the gluing I'm going to do is just on the top of that flap and that one. I'm not going to go right to edge. So I'll do it like so. I hope I'm still in shot there. Yeah, I think I am. If you're unsure how far to go, move over to that and just put the last bit of glue on there instead. We just don't want to put glue on bits that I don't want sticking together. So I'll do that again. And press that down. Everything's lined up well enough. So by just that one measurement and that one score on each piece of paper, then a bit of a fold, we've got our cover. I'm using 200 GSM cardstock. I find that because I've got it double and triple in parts with the flap, I find that well sturdy enough for a cover. I think if I'd used thicker cardstock, I might struggle to get it to fold nicely. Make sure that's dry first, woman, or everything's going to go a little bit Pete-song. Yeah. I don't like to fold anything with the bone folder at this point, because if you need to do any wiggling and adjusting, if you've not folded straight, it'll be more difficult. Right, we've now got pocket there, in the top. When we've sewn our signature in, we'll have a pocket there and a pocket there. Now you've got to decide if you want to put those little semicircles in. I'm going to do them on the top pockets. I'm not going to do them on the back and side pocket though, on this occasion. Mini craft lunch, I've just knocked one of my scoring tools on the floor. I think it was the original one I was looking for. So I'm going to come in and put a semicircle there. I'm using, what size punch did I grab? 2 inch. The size is not important. And I'm just going to chomp a semicircle out. Oh, yeah. Considering I guessed, that weren't bad. And then I'm going to do the other one on the inside of the back. Again, chompy chomp. I'm performing like a man with no arms, trying to do this so that you can see what I'm doing as well. That's about how big I want it. And I want it about there. Well, that were more good, that were more luck than judgment, that I think. Yeah, so we've got that. Now I want to seal this bottom up, so I'm going to put a line of glue. There's a reason I do this after, it'll become apparent in a second. I'm going to start from that edge, again a line of glue all the way along. I'm missing out the tiny crease bit. I don't want any glue on my crease. We'll probably squidge a little bit to there. Then I'm going to turn this over inside down. That's my outside facing up, and I'm going to press that down from the outside in to the middle. And as I do that, what you'll see is, can you see that? Yeah, because the outside cover has further to travel, somewhere that cover has got to buckle, and I want that to be just there on the spine. Then everything else will be perfectly flat and straight. And I'm just gonna smooth in up to my spine. Again, this is why I didn't use my bone folder. Just use my fingers. Whee! Make sure that's nice, glued nice and well. That's not an issue because when you close the book it disappears. It's only when you open it and you're writing in it that it's there, and it's again not a bother. But it stops the book buckling and ending up wonky in places where you don't want it to buckle and become wonky. So that is now the cover. So as far as inside pages go, like I say, I've used kit pages. So I'm going to nick the ones out of that one for this one. Yay! Oh, I think that look nicer in this one. And yeah, if you want to see the full kit, again, I'm not going to show you the full kit. I didn't even print the full kit out. There's so many pages. There's like 20 pages from Rachel, 20 from Angela. I know I said from Bella then. Bella is taking part in collaboration, but she didn't do any kit pages. Yeah, so I've just gone through, printed off my favourites, and I've just chopped some off so that I liked it, yeah. I've cut them at 8.5 inches wide, because I know my book's 9 inches. I've cut these at 8.5, and I may have trimmed a few more down here and there, just till I like it. They're not all perfectly the same length. That would be too much of a hassle. As long as they look okay, I'm an happy bunny. So next thing to do before I sew that in, I want to put a few extra pockets on. So again, I've printed out another copy of that part of the kit. I've got these, there's a few pages here that I've got. I couldn't decide what to use, so again I just printed my favourites. Right, and I printed the freebie sheet out 2 to a page, and then I printed it out again 4 to a page. I thought that'd be brilliant for journal cards and tags. And then I've printed again 1 or 2 of my other favourites. If you're only using the freebie, just use a piece of that. In fact, I think I will. Some tag sheets. Yeah, that's my other full-size sheet that's printed. Oh, more tags. Normally I print far too many sheets off from these kits. Yeah, I've done it again. And I've only printed a fraction of the kit off. Yeah, but as always with my projects, I like to show you something that you can make even if you don't want to go and buy these digitals. If you're like me, you go on and off digitals. I always love Rachel's and Angela's though. So when they decided to collaborate, we're like, wow, we've got to have a play with those. Right, stop waffling and tell them what you're doing. Right, I'm going to put an extra pocket here. I didn't have a chance to do that when I made it in a smaller size, but I do now. I'm just thinking, will one of these tags be the correct size? I did cut a couple out. Here it is. Ooh, how perfect is that? In fact, I could put a couple of pockets and a couple of tags, couldn't I? I could. Yeah, that's an idea. Mind you, if you're using US letter size, your pocket's not going to be as wide, so I don't know whether that would work for you. So it might not be the best of ideas. So, So I think I'm just going to do like a layered pocket. And again, I'm going to grab one of these pieces, yeah? Grab your trimmer, woman. Again, I just printed them 4 to a page. I can give you the exact measurement. Well, it won't be exact. You may have photos yours slightly different. I'll give you the rough measurement if you use an A4. But it's... just make it the width of your pocket, however wide your pocket may be. So I've just cut that out completely so I can cut it up to make pockets. Now, how wide is my pocket? So it is roughly... where's my inch side? Do you know, I bought myself this new rule and I do find it a little bit difficult to read. It itemises it in 1/16 of an inch. So that is 2 and... it's basically 2 3/4 wide. Because... yeah, A4 paper is 11 3/4, so 9 plus 2 3/4. Yeah, that will be 11 3/4, won't it? Dough. So it's basically 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut that. How wide is that? Ooh. I'm going to cut it just over 2 1/2. Cut that in half and it's going to make both my pockets then. Yeah, perfect. There we go. They're roughly the same width as each other, aren't they? Roughly. That's it. And I'm going to get a smaller punch. And I'm going to put some little notches in again. What have I got here? 1 1/2. I'm going to put a little notch in there. And a little notch in there. Probably show up quicker if I weren't doing blue. Clearer if I weren't doing blue on blue. Oh, I'm going to put the house at the bottom and the bottles at the... no, there's too many bottles together there. We don't like that, do we? Deirdre, no, we don't. So I'm going to put that there and that there. Then we can fit 2 skinny tags in there. I've not decided if I want to round corners. No, I'm going to leave them square. They're quite robust, so I'm going to leave these square as well. So... I'm going to glue the top one on first, and I'm just going to put glue down either side. Whee. You'll find, if you're a beginner and you've not done many journal covers before, you'll find that just making your pockets up as you go along is the easiest thing. Just cut your paper and decide where it goes. That sounds really silly, doesn't it? Rather than having a set size and needing to know the size of everything, just measure the area you've got that you want to put a pocket in and cut a piece of card to that size. If you have to cut a bit more off, cut a bit more off. Oh, that's better. Yeah, you can see a little bit of that flower then. I've got the shed. I keep calling it a house, it's a shed. That'll be making you wonder if I live in a shed. Yeah. I think my head is the shed. Yeah. My head is most definitely a shed. Oh, the art glitter keeps getting blocked. I'm swapping to my other. I'm getting deja vu now from my last video. I said I was going to clean tip. Have a clean tip? Have I yet clean tip? I'll do it when Sunday falls in the middle of the week. Whee. Oops. I just like the look of little pockets and tucks everywhere. So if you can fit a pocket, stick it on. I think I'm fully embracing the joy of junk journaling eventually, after all these years. I don't have to have everything lined up perfectly. I can live with things not being perfect. Right, so that's my 2 pockets. Oh, I like that. Now that's going to be my back page, so that definitely needs a nice big pocket. And I'm going to use that other one. Yeah, waste not, want not. I'm going to cut the bottom off and the top off. I may have to cut a little bit off the width of this, but just shows you how far one design can go. Right, I'm going to have to cut maybe at front. I don't want to cut the shed off I don't want to cut the shed off. I'll tell you what, first I'll cut that off. I'll cut it off to edge it bottles, or buckles as we call them in Yorkshire. That's still a little bit too wide. We know the book's 4.5 inches wide, so why am I trying to put a piece of paper on? I'm going to make the... I've cut it to 4 wide. I've bit bullet. There we go. And I'm going to use my big one to do this notch. No, I'm not. Here I am. I just picked the little one up. There we go. And I'm going to pop that on there. I'm going to come in and I'm going to zhuzh things up then with some of the snippet roll that I made in my last video using some taperology bits and bobs. Taperology. I always want to call it taperology and it's taperology. I actually started reading the About Me page for Florence, who runs Taperology. She actually does run it, and what a small world it is. Florence is actually from the same city in the UK. She's from Sheffield. I wonder if she even knows that. I don't know. Talk about a small world. I'm in Sheffield. I start a YouTube channel. Then someone from Singapore contacts me. It's not a lot of people do Taperology, not just me. But just in my case, it's just like strange. Someone from who lives in Singapore contacts me, and it turns out they were born and bred in the same place that I live. I actually come from next town over. I'm from Rotherham, but I live in Sheffield. So my kids are from Sheffield because that's where they live. Right, that one was a waffle, weren't it? So we've now got a pocket there, pocket there, pocket there, pocket there. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've managed to get 7 pockets just within the cover of that journal. Will we have a room for any pages? I don't know. So I'm going to use a 3/0 pamphlet stitch to put my pages in. You can use anything you want to use. You can staple them in, you can sew them in, you can just tie a bit of string around like so. I've done that before, I think. And I think that was in a Rach and Bella collaboration video. For me, I'm going to sew them in, so I will just grab my bits and bobs. Here we go. So I've got some wax linen thread. This is 2mm. I buy it from Amazon. I'll link it in my description. It's always linked on my Amazon storefront. I'm gonna get a length of it that is 3 times the height of my book, and then 4 because I don't like to be short. It's a big roll. I don't mind wasting a bit. I don't want to be short of it. I might decide to put long dangles on and stick beads on. That's my favourite thing to do at the minute. So I'm going to use one of my big long needles today. This one I actually bought as a bookbinding needle. It's very long. I'm not likely to lose it, which is always a bonus. Whee. I'm going to do a very simple binding job on this because it is a very simple signature, just made up of kit papers. I'm just going to centre it. I'm going to eyeball it. I love that expression, eyeball. I'm going to guess where the middle is. That's about the middle. And I'm just going to poke through with this poking tool. Whee, straight out onto the spine. I'm going to go up a bit. You'll see where it pokes out. Just guessing it. Because I know all my pages are full size and I've not got to make sure I catch lots of little bits and bobs. I can be a bit more random. And I'm going to poke out again there. I don't care if it's even distance from that middle one. Things like that are past bothering me. And I'm going to stick my needle out through the middle. I'm not using no clips, no binding, no nothing, because I'm being very clever. And I could come a cropper. I could come a cropper. I could come Roy Cropper. Roy Cropper was a character from a British soap opera. And for someone who hasn't watched soap operas for at least 17 years, I do go on about them an awful lot, don't I? I've not watched soap operas since I had my kids. I tell a lie, maybe I did still watch a few when they were babies and they used to sleep 4 hours between feeds. But yeah. I don't even know if Roy Cropper's still in. It's the soap called Coronation Street. And if he left, I don't know when. I might find out Roy Cropper left 16 years ago. One never knows. And then I'm going to go back in the centre. And is it going to go through for me? I always get it through cover and then miss my pages. I've gone through, I'm trying to go through. Right, grab that. Tighten everything up a bit because it's all got a bit Pete tongue because my threads are loose. That's tight now. I'm going to hold that to one side, so I should find now that my centre hole in my spine and my pages are just about lined up. Yeah, there we go. And all was well. Right, let's have a look at them. Yeah, I've got loads more string than I needed. Loads. I'm not even going to bother evening them up because that's pretty long enough. I've got one string, one either side of that long centre string. If I've confused you with this binding, again, I'll link another video in the description where I explain it much more carefully. Or just Google or search on YouTube 3-hole pamphlet stitch. There's lots of us done it. So I've just put a little double knot there. And then I'm just going to tie this in a pretty little bow. Because I don't want to put beads on this one. I'm doing that to death. Everything's got to have beads on. It's like, no. Everything doesn't have to have beads on. And I've made that pretty even. Then I'm going to snip it off. By leaving it long, if the person who gets it, or if I keep it and decide to alter it, I can untie the bow. Nothing's going to come apart because I've done a double knot this time and pop some beads on. So that's now, yeah, that's basically my little junk journal. With no junk. It's a journal. Yeah, I don't want telling off by people who say you can't be a junk journal who's got no junk in. Yeah, we're all guilty of that. Calling them junk journals when there's no junk in. But I'll probably decorate it with some junk. We all like to save us junk, don't we? And what do we say? One man's junk is another man's treasure. So that is the basic book. Right, next thing I'm going to do, I will link this video. In my last video I made this yummy snippet roll, and when I was making it I knew that the colours went perfectly with this kit from Rachel and Bella Crafts. So like, yes, I want to put a pocket on the front. Will I put a pocket on the back? No. No, that'll be using too much of my snippet roll. And I'm not going to be sensible and just cut the first bit off from that end. No, I'm not. I'm going to move it along until I find a bit that just looks extra yummy. I'm loving that bit on it. What looks best? Just move it along. It's like, I don't know. It's like something from a Generation game. I'm talking about a lot of old telly today. You're going to have to Google them. Ooh, Terry, one of our subscribers. Terry, I hope you understood my description of a turkey dinosaur. I must have mentioned turkey dinosaurs in another video. And Terry said, excuse me, I hope I'm not being, did she call us thick? I don't know. But what's a turkey dinosaur? Now, if you're in UK, you're going to know what a turkey dinosaur is. Right, I want to use that bit. I just do. I want that green on. I want that flower on. Or do I? Oh, I just can't decide. I also want that bit on. Ooh, I'm going to do that bit. That bit. Yeah, I want that blue there. So I'm going to be very brave now. And I'm going to cut my snippet roll just a little bit wider than it needs to be. Just a bit wider. If you're going to have to be on tenterhooks a moment longer to find out what a turkey dinosaur is. I think I'm going to have to get some better scissors for cutting these. I cut everything with this pair of Tim Holt scissors. So I think I'm going to have to use some of the posher ones. I've got some of those. Can't find them. No, just carry on with these, woman. Carry on with these. Because you don't know where they are. You're talking absolute twaddle. Right. So yeah, I'm going to waste some because I can't cut for toffee. That's the bit I want. Yeah. I like that blue bit. I like that butterfly. I like these flowers. That's the perfect bit. So I'm just going to turn that upside down, and I'm going to use the edge of my book as a guide, and I'm going to cut that again. That snippet will not be wasted. I will use it on something else. Be careful not to cut your book. Now you can make this pocket from some card. If you don't want to go watch another video, make a snippet roll. You don't need Tapeology goodies to make that snippet roll. Now, because I've got one of those brads there, I'm just going to take... What shall I put on it? I just want to cover that up so that it doesn't... Here we go. I've got a bit of ribbon here. I don't want anything too thick. I'm just going to put that on the back. Like so. Yeah. Would it be better using tape? No, I'll use a bit of glue. Whee. I don't want to go too thick to make it bulky, you see. So I thought if I grab some of that thin ribbon... Oops, stay. Right, there we go. And now because that's going to be a little bit wet while I'm gluing it onto the book, I'm going to grab one of these label backing sheets. If I weren't filming or I had time to pause, I'd just wait before I stuck this on now. But no, I'm going to pop that in there. It won't stick to that because it's that surface that the glue won't stick to. There we go. And now I can put my glue on the edges, along the bottom, and glue this snippet roll piece to the front of my book. Oh, that's the cloggy one again. That's it. Whee. Putting plenty on because it's fabric and it's going to soak in. There we go. Just holding that paper in place. I don't want to get it stuck, but I don't want to allow that brad that I've glued on to touch. I don't want this pocket sticking in the middle, do I? So that's my pocket. I really like that. It goes so well. The only thing with it now is I don't have a charm on it, so I'm going to pinch one of these, and I think I'm going to pinch this little buzzy bee. That's the beauty, putting the charms on with the bulb clips. If you change your mind about where you want them, you can. Right, so where do we want him? I think I'm going to have him... I'm going to have him there in the middle. So, yeah, I really enjoyed making these. What did I call it? I can't remember what I called it in the end, but basically it's snippet rolls without using scraps and snippets. Because again, I get a lot of comments from people who are new to junk journaling, and they often say, oh, I wish I had your hoard of scraps, but I've built that up over many years. And sometimes you want that look of something being made with scraps when you don't have the scraps. I'm just checking that. That's doing fine. So that, oh, I love it. Nice. Right, I'm going to make 2 giant tags to go in the top of there. And I've picked out, again, I've just printed onto the 200 GSM cardstock some of my favourite pages, and there's one that I think will make some pretty good giant tags. That one will make beautiful tags, but it will also make a lovely A5 journal cover. So I don't want to cut that. I think this will cut up to make beautiful tags. It's got that lovely gingham check in the background. I honestly don't know which of these other pages came from Rachel's kit and which came from Angela's. I really don't know. I'm sorry about that. Right, I'm just going to put punch on there just so this will stay level while that glue sets. Now, I know that my traveller's notebook is 8 1/4 inches high because that's the height of my paper. If you've used letter size, yours will be 8 inches high, but so will that. Where have you put your trimmer, woman? Oh, an absolute nightmare. Oh, someone else had told me that. Oh, and I've totally forgot the name of the other YouTuber that calls it floor organising. When you put all your spare tools on the floor, that's brilliant. Right, so we also know that the book is 4 1/2 inches wide. We also know that if we made the tag that wide, it'd be a very tight fit and it wouldn't fit at all. So I'm going to make my tag 4 inches wide, and I'm just going to cut 4 inches off there, and I'm calling that a tag. I will take a bit off the bottom. How much shall I take off the bottom? I'm going to take... Do I really need to take 1 inch off? No, I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch off. Oh, no, I'll take... yeah. 3/4. No, I'm going to take 1/2 inch off. 3/4 off. No, half. You silly woman. I'm just going to nibble 1/2 inch off bottom. Hecky thump. And then I'll just make that a tag shape. That was just crazy, that, weren't it? See, we all do it. You know, again, I get comments from people. Well, it's nice to see that sometimes you can't decide what to do. And that's a nice way of putting it. Because what I would say is that sometimes I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. And yet we all get a bit like that, don't we? That's just how it is. Right, so they are going to be my big tags for my front. That's going to be top. I don't even know which way these are supposed to be. That's top. That one could be anyway, couldn't it? I just really don't know. So I'm making that the top. Lordy, lordy. And I'm going to grab one of my... No, they're my current plastic cards. Grab a plastic card. I've tied it up and I can't reach stuff. Put it further away. Oh, I've got this lovely organised little thing. You know... Let me show you this. You know how I say cut the corner of a plastic card to make tags? Look how many times I've done that. These are all old plastic cards from... These are just from all my life. Oh, that's a nice big corner. I'm going to use that. So how many times can you lose something and have to make another? Well, judging by that, I've done it multiple dozens of times. A couple dozen times. So yeah, I line that corner up. And then I snip off. I do apologise for people who've seen this by me and other people many times, but there's always that one new person, isn't there, who's like, wow, not seen that before. Quite often that person's me. I used to be like that all the time. Right, so we just have a couple of yummy tag shapes. I'm going to be very simple with the tops. I'm going to grab something and staple it on. So let's... Oh, check the fit first before you go embellishing them. Wrong channel cover. Yeah, that's the one you want. I'm just going to check if that's dry yet. I'm just going to leave it in a little bit longer just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side. Oh, that's the perfect size tag for there. Loving it. So I'm guessing if that one's perfect size, then that one should be perfect size. Yeah, loving it, loving it, loving it. Alright. So I knew that any of the tags in the kit would be far too small to fit in there. Right, I'm just going to give my desk a quick tidy and let that dry, and I shall be back. And I'm back, quick tidy, pins are in glue bottles, needles are, well, one needle's put away, I've lost the other one already. So hey ho, and that will be dry now. So I'm thinking I'm going to alter this one to make this a tag for the front. Then it's like I've not really wasted any of that piece of card, have I? I do need to shorten it a little bit though. So I'll take this down by about 1 inch. I don't like to use exact measurements, me. It's just not my thing anymore. A little bit more. Then I'll measure it for you, let you know what size it ended up being. Because that is often how I decide how big something needs to be. I'll just keep snipping a bit off. And it's now 7¼ inches. So I'm going to do the same thing at the top of this one. Use my plastic card and make it into a tag shape. No heavy embellishing. So if you needed to make a present for someone, I always say this because I am an absolute nightmare when it's someone's birthday and I leave it well the last minute and then I need to do something quick. I'm like, oh, I'll do my journal. So that will pop nicely in there. Yeah, oh, I quite like that. And I'm just going to put some basic holes in the top. I'm even using my teeny tiny 1/0 punch. Yep, so nothing fancy. I'm just going to punch it in the middle. Maybe I should have gone a little bit further down. And I've grabbed a sheet of the whole reinforcement rings. I'm not even colouring them because I've done no inking on this project and there is quite a bit of white in it. I am just basically putting the basic white reinforcement ring round and I'm using it for its intended purpose. It's reinforcing that hole so I can now thread some bits and bobs and fibres through it. Again, these are some of the gorgeous ones I got from Tapology. You're going to see me using these all the time now. Oh, where's the end? That's the hard bit on these sometimes. I'm just going to take it all off from the bottom. Is the end there? Yes, it is. How yummy are these? Now I'm going to just twist them so I can get them through. And I'll probably do this with different colours in the top of all the tags. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. They're going to last me forever, some of these. And I'm going to take a length of, I'll use that one. Just going to pinch a length of that just to tie it around. Again, one of my favourite methods of the moment because it's quick, easy and simple. Just going to knot it again. And those strands will get lost up there with the rest of them. I'll trim them to roughly the same length. And that can pop in there. Gorgeous. I'm trying to take them other tags out and they're not even in it. I'm going to do the same with these two. Because not everything has to be fancy all the time, does it? When your papers are fancy enough. I even had someone comment on a video recently, why are you covering those lovely papers up? And the video in question, I didn't think the papers I were covering up were particularly lovely. There were some Tim Holtz ones, some of the more grungy ones, and I felt they needed a little something something. But when your papers are this gorgeous, then I really do have a hard time covering them up. And sometimes I just think you don't need to. You don't need to do anything to them. So I've done nothing to them. So that's my two of the big ones. I've got these other two colours of trim here. I like this. I think it goes really well with that journal. It will like, yeah, it will like fate. All the yummy goodies I received all seem to match really nicely with this kit. Now this time I'm going to just thread it through slightly differently. That's gone a bit fluffy, so I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to thread the whole thing through the hole. The whole thing through the hole. Ooh. And I know I said I was just perhaps going to staple some stuff to the top, then I remembered these. And then I'm going to put all the cut ends through that loop, through all the loops. I might miss one. And just pull them like that. Yummy. And that can go in there. Perfect fit. Oh, it makes the top of that look really good. And do I want to use this colour? Yeah. Let's use this pink one. Again, I can't find ends, so I'm just going to take it off from the bottom And there it is. And this time I think I'm going to tie it like I did that one, because it's a lot thicker. So thread it through. And the reason I've not used any of my metal eyelets is because I wanted to thread so much stuff through. I wasn't even sure that I could get it through because those holes are slightly smaller. Right, and then again I'm going to pinch a little bit of thread and tie it. There we go. And tie it again. These won't need cutting, but those threads will then just get lost in with the other threads, and that will go in the back. So just love, don't you just love the look of that on top? I do. Then for the journal cards, these ones that I cut at half size, I think I could make them fit, or I could just use something else. Cut up some other piece. There it is, I've got this one. That'll make some lovely journal cards. So, yeah, I'm just going to mark that this time where I want to cut it. Then I'll tell you how big it is. But if you're making letter size, you're going to have to do it exactly as I've done it to find out what size it needs to be. That is 4 inches. So I'm going to cut another one that's 4 inches. I'm going to have that side. So basically they're roughly the same size as tags, aren't they? Then I'm just going to cut a little bit off each end. I'm going to cut it from there. I just look at the pattern and decide which part can stand losing something. And I'm going to take a little bit off each end with these two. No, I'll do it just from that one end there. There we go. So that should now fit in there perfectly. This should fit in the back perfectly. You will find that on this back, you tag at the top, and this one, some of the space they're taking up is shared. You can just see the back of that, can you? I don't know. But it's not enough for them to get in each other's way. As long as you're not putting anything really heavily embellished in there, you should be fine. Which I don't tend to put anything really heavily embellished in somewhere like that. Right, I've got a couple of these smaller tags that I'm going to pop in here. Put tabs on those if you want. Oh, and now I'm left with these two. So how would I deal with this? Right, I've got this piece left. And again, I'm going to turn this into I'm going to make this into a bookmark. So the width of my pocket is, how wide is it? It's, again, foxing me, 2.5. So I'm going to make it two or just a little bit over 2 inches wide. And I'll do that. So I've made it 2. Are they both about 2? No, that one's narrower. And I'm going to cut that one down. Again, that is now 7.25 inches, give or take. That will then fit perfectly in there to be a bookmark. And that other bit that we had left over, I can make a little tag out of that for there. Dare I just cut it? No, I daren't cut it with scissors because it'll be wonky as a donkey. Yeah, I'm not spending a lot of time embellishing these. Use what you've got for inside. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pockets. Wow, 8 pockets all on one cover. I think I do like that. Yeah, that is pretty. Now, to tie around it, I'm going to use some of this. Oh, that's lovely. I'm going to cut it round about there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tie some knots to keep these together. One there. And I'm just going to tie a knot every so often. This was such a huge haul from Tapeology. I can't see, it's going to be years, absolutely years, before I use it all in tops of tags and on snippet rolls. So I'm going to make a closure out of it. Because once it's knotted, it's quite much heavier weight, and I'm just going to put one last one there near the end. At one time of day I would have wanted to measure that the gaps between all these knots were perfect. But even if you don't have Tapeology goodies, if you've got lots of random bits of trim, because sometimes you think, well, you need some seam binding or some sari silk for a closure. But no, you don't. That is a closure just from trim. And without lots of faffing, embellishing and sticking stuff on, I think we've ended up with a pretty nice little junk journal. I'd be happy to give that as a gift, and I'd be happy to receive that as a gift. Yeah. So, there we go. That is my Summer Simples Traveller's Notebook Junk Journal. Yeah, so even with waffling, I've managed to cobble a junk journal together in 50 minutes. Didn't do too bad there. Right, my voice has really had it now, so make sure you check out the hashtag. And all my links are in the description. So, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.